Hello and welcome to my channel and my podcast, Kate Sharon True Crime. My name is Kate and here I talk about true crime, mysteries, history and anything that interests me. It is bloody cold here today in New Zealand. My goodness, I know it's winter but still. Whoa, I stole my mum's jacket. Please remember to show your support by liking this video, subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell so that you never miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you so much for being here with me. Make sure to get cozy, grab a snack, and let's dive into another true crime story. Well, I assume it's a true crime story. See, today I'll be talking about the disappearance of 16-year-old Ruth Wilson from Betchworth near Dorking in Surrey, England. So Ruth disappeared in Box Hill on the 27th of November 1995, and her whereabouts are still unknown to this day. Ruth was born on the 31st of January 1979 in Betchworth, Surrey in England. Ruth is the oldest daughter of Ian and Nesta Wilson, who got married in 1976 in Newport. They had two daughters. Sadly, when Ruth was 3 years old and her sister Jenny was only a few months old, Nesta, her mum, took her own life. But the thing was, Ruth was told that her mother's death was a tragic accident and that she had fallen down the stairs and broken her neck. Yeah. But the thing was, Nesta's death certificate recorded her cause of death as suicide by hanging. Also, just before Ruth went missing, she had found out the real cause of her mother's death. Poor kid, honestly, it's horrible. We don't know if this shocking news had anything to do with Ruth's disappearance though, but I can imagine it wouldn't have helped her state of mind. It would be horrible to deal with. That's a lot to take on for a kid. Then, a year after Nesta died, Ruth's dad actually remarried. He remarried a woman called Karen in the last quarter of 1983 in Surrey. I feel like that is way too soon, like a year after your wife died. I know I shouldn't judge, but remarrying a year after your wife takes her own life, it just seems really soon. Yeah, it's horrible. It just doesn't seem... I feel like that he should have at least let the dust settle. I don't know. It's up to him. The thing is, we don't know if that impacted Ruth as well. You know, her mum's just passed away and then her dad gets married a year later. We don't know, but it probably did. Did she hold some sort of resentment towards her dad for remarrying so quickly? We do not know. So Ian and Karen were teachers. He was head of science at a secondary school while she was the deputy head of a primary school. Ian also served as a local parish councillor. So Ruth was described as a vibrant and active girl who found joy in reading, going on bike rides, and immersing herself in music. She was really talented also. She played the electric guitar and the piano, and she channeled her passion for music into her work. So she worked at a local music shop where she held a Saturday job. She absolutely adored music. People also say that Ruth was very, very unhappy. So there's two different sides. Her dad and stepmom say she was really happy, la la la, and then her friends are like, no, she wasn't. Additionally, Ruth was well liked as a local babysitter. So she had 2 part-time jobs. 16 years old, good on her. At the time of her disappearance, she was dedicating herself to her A-level studies at school. She was an active member of the choir, skilled at playing the organ, and took great pleasure in participating in bell-ringing activities. She was later described by her school friends as possessing an intelligent and unique personality. Some said that she was also a wee bit stubborn. So Ruth had a small yet tightly knit circle of friends who she cherished. She adored her friends and loved to spend time with them. Ruth's close friend, Catherine Mayer, had made plans to relocate to Sheffield. It's a city located in South Yorkshire. Ruth wanted to go and visit her, so she asked if she could visit Catherine once she had moved and settled in. She said, yeah, that's fine. And so a couple of weeks would go by and Ruth would go over to stay. During the stay, Ruth had insisted that she did not want to go home. She was adamant that she did not want to go home, which really worried Catherine's mum. She just felt uneasy about it. Like, why would a child really not want to go home? What's going on? Her dad's saying that, oh, it's a happy family, she's happy, da 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 da. But this kid is saying otherwise. So Catherine added that Ruth had also expressed a desire to run away, but she never said that she wanted to harm herself. Ruth's dad and stepmom have disputed claims that her life was unhappy. But the thing is, Ruth is telling her friends that she was unhappy. And friends and family have also said that Ruth was not suicidal. But also, we don't totally know what's going on in other people's minds. I would never have thought that, Robin Williams, the hilarious guy, would take his life, but he did. We do not know what is going on in each other's minds. Some people can put on a really good front and then all of a sudden they're gone. So we just don't know. So 2 days before Ruth went missing, she followed her regular routine working at the music shop in Dorking. After work, she joined her ex-boyfriend Will Kennedy and their mutual friend Neil Phillipson for a meal, which she paid for. She said that it was like a, goodbye sort of dinner. Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know if she actually said it, but that's what I heard. Despite ending their romantic relationship, Ruth and Will had managed to maintain a really strong and supportive friendship. So, yeah, they hung out quite a bit, a lot. Later, Will and Neil both said that Ruth seemed fine. She paid for the meal and they went their merry ways. The next day, which was the day before she disappeared, Ruth went for handbell practice at the local church, and then she went to a youth group. After that was done, she went over to Will's. So back to hanging out with Will. She went there for dinner, and while she was at Will's house, his mum gave Ruth some old clothing, and everyone said that she seemed fine. She seemed relaxed, somewhat happy. She was okay. Her family also remembered her being quite relaxed that day. So everyone's saying that she was okay the day before she left. But the thing is, outward appearances can be deceiving. We don't know what's going on in someone's mind, like I said. The following day, Ruth's dad and stepmom left early for work, leaving Ruth and her younger sister Jenny to catch the school bus. So Ruth's dad, he needed to rush off to an Ofsted inspection at the school where he served as a head of the science department. This is basically, people coming in to check the school, make sure everything's okay, make sure the teachers are doing their job, da 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 da. Ruth's dad was a bit stressed, and he remembered that the last time he saw her, he was a bit rude to her. He said that she was sitting at home, absorbed in her Walkman, as he rushed around getting ready and then basically rushed out the door in a stressful mood. He regretted that his last words to his daughter were impatient and rude, as he basically pushed past her. He told her to get out of the way. Poor guy probably carries that with him every single day. That would be horrible. Also, just before leaving, Ruth made a last-minute decision to not join her sister Jenny on the bus. So Jenny was a little bit taken aback by it. She wasn't too surprised because she knew that Ruth was in the sixth form and didn't always have to attend school for the entire day. They had different hours, apparently. I don't know because I don't live in England, but here in New Zealand it's 8:30 till 3, but for everyone. However, she was taken aback by her sister's late decision. That's what she was taken aback by. Just moments before the bus was due to arrive, Ruth was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to school. I'll see you later, basically. Shortly after Jenny walked out of the house, Will Kennedy pulled up and he offered Ruth a lift. Ruth hesitated for a moment before she politely declined his offer, mentioning that she had other plans and would catch up with him later. So as the day unfolded, people started to notice, and when I say people, I mean her friends, and they started to notice that Ruth was absent from school, and her friends found that quite out of character. It was unusual. She would usually be at school. So they're concerned, they're a little bit puzzled. They wondered where Ruth could be and why she had chosen to deviate from her typical routine. Get up, go to school. Everyone else is at school. Then at around 11:30 a.m., Ruth had actually taken a taxi into Dorking. So she's fine at this time. People say that they saw her walking down the street with a suitcase, but I don't know if that's fact. Around midday, she ordered flowers for her stepmom from Thistle's florist and asked that they not be delivered until the following Wednesday. Then she went to Dorking Library and she spent the whole afternoon there. People talk about these flowers a lot. I will talk about it a bit more shortly. So at about 4 p.m, she caught a taxi from Dorking railway station to Box Hill. Box Hill was like massive beauty spot. It was gorgeous. I would love to live out there, but yeah, I can't. I'm in New Zealand, other side of the world. So when the taxi dropped her off near the Hand in Hand pub, something strange happened. So she's just down the road from the pub. People were like, why didn't anyone in the pub see her? Because it was dark. You can't really see, and people are drinking. They're not paying attention to outside. So this taxi driver said that instead of walking away, Ruth just kind of stood there in the rain, which the driver thought was really odd because most people, they get out of the taxi, they walk away, especially if it's raining. Like, you're not going to just get out of the taxi and stand there like, da, 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 da. You're going to walk away, right? I don't know. Maybe she was taking in the view of Box Hill because it is beautiful. So the driver also mentioned that she seemed to be looking around for someone, and this turned out to be the last time that Ruth was seen. And the taxi driver's account places her at this location at 4:30 p.m. Apparently they did look into this taxi driver and they said that he has nothing to do with it. That's all I know. Ruth was last seen wearing a vibrant red knitted jumper paired with sleek black velvet trousers and stylish black pixie boots. She also had a delicate lady's watch on her left wrist. Additionally, she was carrying a small blue duffel bag. So before she was carrying a suitcase, and people say she was definitely carrying the suitcase, but then where's the suitcase? Now she's got a duffel bag. I don't know. It's a confusing case. Apparently she also had a personal stereo and some tapes. Yeah, good times, back when we listened to Walkman. Google it. Oh my god, I remember when I used to have a tape deck. I'm a 90s kid. So I had a tape deck and it was basically like, this box you put the tape in. Do you guys know what tape is? If you're not from like my generation, if you're young, if you're under 25, if you're under 25, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but they were cool. You put the tape in this box thing, you put the tape in the cassette player, and you put your little headphones on, and there you go. Well before iPads. So anyway, carrying on. So Liam McCauley, a 58-year-old retired police officer with extensive experience, he carefully analysed the circumstances surrounding Ruth Wilson's disappearance. He noted that she appeared to be dressed to get into another car, implying that she may have been preparing to leave with someone else or waiting for the taxi driver to leave before heading off to, wherever she was going, or to a third party. Maybe there was someone waiting by, we don't know. But he said that it just looks like she was waiting for someone or waiting for the taxi driver to, leave so she could go do whatever it was she was doing, because the taxi driver's like watching her in the rear vision mirror. So in other words, she didn't want the taxi driver to see what she was doing. Yeah. That's what this guy's saying. This observation raised the possibility that someone else was involved and suggested that Ruth and possibly this other person may have been attempting to elude detection. Or it could just mean that she got out of the car, she's looking around, she's waiting for the taxi to leave before she goes off to wherever she's going by herself. We don't know. So this detective also emphasized the significant challenges associated with completely disappearing without a trace. He said, you don't just vanish, like you are somewhere, which is true. She's somewhere. Additionally, it is noteworthy that Ruth Wilson went missing 14 days before the 13th anniversary of her mother's death, adding another layer of complexity to this investigation. So Ruth's family grew worried when she did not come home that evening, and they learned from the school that she hadn't actually attended classes. They immediately called the police, who, based on information from that taxi driver, the taxi driver who dropped Ruth off, the police then promptly organised a search of the surrounding area. So police jumped into action really quickly, and that evening they launched a thorough search for Ruth, utilising a helicopter, police dogs, and heat-seeking equipment. But despite scouring the Box Hill area, no concrete leads came up. Also, it later came to light that Ruth often visited Box Hill after school. She'd go there, just chill out, watch, read, hang out, Additionally, she had expressed worries about her grades to her mates, and she had chosen to hide her school report from her parents that weekend. Then, on November the 29th, the flowers that she bought, remember near the beginning of the story, she bought her stepmom some flowers? Well, they were delivered. Later, Ruth's dad referred to the flowers as an expensive bouquet. So how was Ruth able to pay for this? Because, she's got a couple of part-time jobs, but this is the 90s. We didn't get paid much. I got $6 a week for my job. Anyway, surprisingly, there was also no note attached to the flowers, which people have suggested means that, it's her putting her 2 fingers up at her stepmom. Her friend Catherine said that it was a, way of Ruth disrespecting her stepmom, putting the 2 fingers up at her. I'm not sure why though. I would have seen flowers as a kind gesture, but I don't know. Maybe it was like someone said that it was like Ruth sending her stepmom flowers because her stepmom wouldn't have left her flowers on her grave. I don't know. What do you guys think? I know it's sad, but then on the 1st of December 1995, the police found 3 notes that were hidden under a bush in the undergrowth at the top edge of Betchworth Quarry on Box Hill. So these notes that they found, they were from Ruth, and they were basically farewell letters to her dad and her stepmom and her best mate and apparently some boy. Yeah. Close by, the police found empty packets of paracetamol and a half-empty bottle of vermouth. So vermouth is a fortified wine. Loads of people think that it's a spirit because it can mess you up like a spirit, but it's actually a fortified wine, which means it has distillate added to it to raise the alcohol level, ABV. In other words, if she drank this whole bottle by herself, then she would definitely be feeling pretty drunk. She'd be feeling pretty damn drunk, especially at 16, because, it's quite strong. Then on the 2nd of December, a large-scale search was organised by the police and the Fire and Rescue Service, which included 60 volunteers, locals, some of her mates from school, colleagues from her job, and wardens from the National Trust. The search utilised a police helicopter again, tracking dogs, and thermal imaging equipment. A detailed search of the Betchworth Quarry end of Box Hill was undertaken by a trained search and rescue team, along with employees of the owners of the quarry. So Mark Williams Thomas, who worked closely with the family during Ruth's case, mentioned that thorough searches were conducted across Box Hill. but no evidence was found to indicate that she had been killed or that she took her own life. He also said that he was confident that she was not taken by a stranger. I'm not sure how he can feel confident about that. Like, they're saying they don't have any proof or evidence, so how can he say that? I don't know. They have notes. Mark also said that because of all of the experience he has, he would suggest one of two things occurred. He said she either went there to meet someone and has subsequently gone away, or she went there and died in some way, and meaning she's probably still up there to this day. Then on the 8th of December, Ian and Karen Wilson, her parents, made an appearance on the ITV network's mid-morning program called This Morning. Their purpose was to appeal for any information regarding their missing daughter, and during the show they expressed their belief that their daughter was still alive, but they suspected that she might be too scared to go home. Maybe she was worried that, if she walks in the door she's going to get in trouble, which she would if my daughter ran away. She's 17, but I tell you guys that all the time. I always refer to my own kids. But yeah, if my daughter ran away and then she came back, I'd be like, excuse you, where the hell have you been? Like, you are going to get in trouble, but it's better to come home than to not. Yeah. So 8 months after Ruth's disappearance, Catherine was visited at her new home in Sheffield by South Yorkshire Police. Catherine, this is her friend. The officers broke off from questioning her to look in the wardrobe because they thought that she may be hiding Ruth. So they check her house and Ruth's not there. She wasn't hiding her. Then the police assigned the codename Operation Scholar to this case. This unsolved missing persons case is reviewed on a regular basis and is being led by DCI Alex Galdart. Surrey police have said that the investigation would be reopened if any new evidence or lines of inquiry came to light. I'll talk about my opinion on that soon. So over the years, there have been some possible sightings of Ruth, and one was on the 1-year anniversary of her disappearance. So there was a young woman, and she looked just like Ruth, and she was caught on CCTV at a newsagent's shop in Dorking, so, a convenience store. It was situated just 2 miles from Box Hill. She appeared visibly distressed, and she asked for copies of all the local newspapers. When she was told that one of the newspapers was actually sold out, she became noticeably upset. So the owner of the newsagent, he reported this incident to the police and retained the CCTV footage. So he thought maybe this could be Ruth. People say that it's Ruth. So the local newspapers, they were publishing articles about Ruth's case, like a lot. And her parents were featured in an article in the Times on January the 2nd, 1997. So it looks like Ruth might have been going to that newsagent to get newspapers about her own case. Possibly. So in the article, they said that they believe that the girl who was captioned in the video was Ruth. But where'd she go? Did she go back up to Box Hill? I don't know. Where is she? Then, on the 10th anniversary of Ruth's disappearance, Sergeant Shane Craven, who leads East Surrey Police's missing persons team, mentioned that after Ruth went missing, there were some pretty solid sightings of her in the Dorking area by people who knew her and knew her well, but nothing ever came from these sightings, unfortunately. There have been reported sightings of her as far away as Canada, and the missing persons team claims that they have looked into every single lead that they have. Thing was, Ruth didn't have a passport, so I don't know how she would be in Canada, just saying, unless she got a new identity. So in 2006, Ruth's dad wrote an open letter to his missing daughter, basically begging her to come home and asking if anyone had information as to her whereabouts. Then in 2018, a local newspaper sent out an appeal to anyone who had known Ruth at the time of her disappearance to please come forward with any information that could shed light on the case. Like, what has she said to you guys? What do you know? Do you know if, she's taken off and she's living somewhere else? Come forward. I feel like if people do know, they should come forward. But yeah, a woman called Roxy Birch, who had known Ruth at school, said that she didn't drive and didn't own a passport at the time of her disappearance, which would have made long distance and international travel more difficult. Exactly. She didn't have a passport, so how would she be, as far away as Canada? Unless she got a fake identity, which you can do. Then another friend called Kay Blenard said that her belief is that Ruth had planned to do something, and she said that she didn't know whether it would be permanent or temporary. So she's just assuming, like, Ruth, she was planning to do something. She assumed she was planning to do something. She just didn't know what. She didn't elaborate any further on that statement. So that same year, John Saville, the Chief Superintendent of Public Protection of Surrey Police, gave a review of this case. And he said, there are 5 explanations for Ruth Wilson's disappearance. They are a tragic accident, abduction, taking her own life, murder, or that she had left to start a new life. And when I read that, I was like, well, duh. It has to be like one of those things, right? Come on. I know I shouldn't laugh, but it goes without saying. Also, there is a documentary film about Ruth's case. I found it really interesting. It is called Vanished, the Surrey Schoolgirl. I actually went on Martin Bright's website. He's a really good writer. So he introduces some new witnesses, which were mainly friends of Ruth. Ruth's dad and stepmom, they were asked if they wanted to be involved, but they declined. So yeah, he wrote a letter to them, and Ruth's dad called back, and he was like, no. Apparently it took a while for Ruth's parents to actually respond. I feel like if that was my kid and she was missing, I would do anything to find her. So Martin put together a really good doco, and I highly recommend watching it. Hopefully one day we will get answers, but until then, I guess all we can do is hope that Ruth didn't meet with foul play and that she is doing okay and is out there somewhere living her life. We don't know exactly what went on in her home life, so I will leave that theory with you guys. I just feel like if my child went missing, I would let anybody help and I would be involved. I don't understand why Ruth's parents aren't more involved. I shouldn't blame the parents, but if it was your kid, you would want to do something. And when this guy comes forward with the documentary, you'd want to do something. Anyway, that brings us to the end of today's story. I hope you guys are all doing well. Please remember to hit the like button, turn on the notifications bell, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I need your support. I need you guys. I need you. Also, if you are listening via my podcast and would like to see the video, you can find me on YouTube. My name on YouTube is Kate Sharon True Crime. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I absolutely love talking about these cases because every time I talk about a case, it's, pushing that case to the forefront. And the more people that see it, maybe the police will jump into action a bit more. Because if Ruth is up in that, Box Hill, you would have thought they would have found her, right? But oh my God, if my child went missing and a guy who was making a documentary came knocking on my door or, sent me a letter saying, hey, I'm really sorry about, what's happened with your child. I'm going to make a documentary about it. Would you like to be a part of it? I'd be like, yes, I will be the main person in this doco because that's my kid. You would want to be there and give as much help and information as humanly possible because that is your child. You don't just move on when your child goes missing. When your child is missing, you don't stop. And when I say you, I mean I wouldn't stop. Yeah, I just don't get it. I just feel like has anyone looked into her dad and her mum? I wonder if anyone's looked into her dad and her stepmom. Maybe. I guess anything is possible. Anything is possible. I just hope that Ruth is okay. Anyway, I am leaving it there. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. And yeah, I am cold and it is winter here in New Zealand. And I'm wearing this adorable jacket. Look at it. It is cute. It's my mum's. I found it in her wardrobe. I probably shouldn't go through my mum's wardrobe, right? I don't go through my mum's wardrobe. Hey, I'm sure she goes through mine, and my daughter goes through mine, even though my clothes are like a million times too big for her. But anyway, have a wonderful day. Anyway, that is me for today. I will be talking to you later. Bye. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel because I need your guys' support. Thank you so much. And remember my Jeffrey Dahmer story, all the proceeds that I get from that story will be going to Crime Stoppers Milwaukee. So please do watch that video, including the ads, because it's the ads that pay me. Yep. Okay. And with that, I am out of here. Have a wonderful day. I actually stood up to leave, but then I realized I haven't actually said goodbye properly. I think I've actually said goodbye 10 times. But anyway, I'm out. Bye. Now I'm out.